Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready. Let's jump in.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Imagine your life at peak impact.
Okay.
So everything you want right now, everything you can imagine right now, you kind of like 10x that, right?
Yes.
At that point in time, I want you to draw your impact at that moment.
Okay. I feel a little bit like I'm cheating because I've watched the show so much and like I've
That's
gotten
fine.
to see, you know what I mean? So
It-
like
it's still like
subconsciously
put yourself in that moment, like just
No, I know,
viscerally.
100%,
Yeah, yeah.
100%. So like this whole week I've kind of been thinking about like I'm like what am I gonna draw? And I'm like, oh no, that's stupid. I'm not drawing that. And then I'm all right, all right. I got a crazy one for you.
All right,
It's a
all
little
right.
crazy.
We're ready.
Okay. All right.
All right. Show me and describe, please.
Okay, so what
All
we
right.
what we have here, and you can
Uh-huh.
hear me all right, right? I,
Yeah,
I should
yeah.
ask you before. Um, so this is me,
Okay.
all right, and then this is the world,
Okay.
and then this is like my family and my close friends
Okay.
on a platform,
Uh-huh.
and then this is me supporting
Uh-huh.
my family and friends, and I'm holding them up with my hand here on a platform.
Uh-huh.
And I'm doing that by providing uh, massive amounts of value and entertainment to the world. And when I say support too, like I was thinking about this, I don't mean it in just like supporting my friends and family in like just like money wise,
Mhm.
you know? So like I have nephews and I have a son and a daughter and I just I want to support them in like every way possible. You know, like I'd like to be the uncle and dad where like one day I have like a full workshop type situation. And if they ever want to come to me and be like, I want to build this or I want to try this or I want to do this type of thing, like I can be the person that that is there for them and you'd be like, yeah, let's do that. Let's go build a robot today, you know?
Mhm.
And I have the financial independence where I can take a day or a weekend out of my life because my nephew James is like, hey, I want to build a robot today with Uncle Max.
Yeah. So is that kind of like what you want to, I guess, gravitate or orient your life around? Is this like workshop, tech workshop thing? Like, is that what fires you up?
It fires me up so bad. So I randomly stumbled upon this YouTuber and I can just tell he's a very solo guy
Yeah.
and his name is James Hodgins and he has like 100,000 followers, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so he builds these amazing devices and they're really crazy stuff. Like sometimes it's like a Christmas ornament, you
Mhm.
know, and it'll have all these contraptions going like crazy inside of it.
Mhm.
And so I've watched him like blow up and he has this big facility that he's painted all black and he has all of these like old big machinery, you know, and he's in there and he's working with his hands and you just see his comment section is just blown away because he's putting out this like amazing media that people haven't seen before. You
Mhm.
know, that he puts like so much time and effort into crafting like a real story behind
Mhm.
everything that he makes. And that gets me so fired up because I'm like, that's what I want to do. You know, I want to
Uh,
I want to have my own place where I go and I make stuff and I have people that look forward to seeing the stories that I tell about the stuff that I make.
yeah, it's happening. Like I'm looking forward. You have one person at least. So like, so that's great. Like you're doing a good job, and it's just like in terms of impact. Like I want to just push you a little more to think about peak impact, right?
Yes.
because the more you see it, because what I'm hearing from what you're saying is you're a person who likes visceral things, right? You don't like to be in your mind too much. You want to see the things, like you're physical, like you're doing hardware. And what next? Like, right, you're there, like you're in this amazing workshop. It's mostly built for one plus, like an apprentice,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Uh, and you're creating these pieces. Like, do you see yourself more doing 100,000 DeskHub just as a example, not necessarily the DeskHub, but do you doing like 100,000 mass manufacturing, all of that, or doing more like the customized one, you did with the Viking, or like more specialized pieces for like $100,000 piece for one person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like
get what you
which
mean. Yep.
which direction do you lean towards?
So, it feels weird to even say it because we're in a community that where we make our money off of customers, I think. Build in public, like the main strategy is people create a product and then we sell that to end users type thing. But I've thought a lot about like the whole hardware production thing, and I could be way wrong with this, but I almost actually think that the media itself will be more powerful than the products that I create. So I can go on and make desk hubs all day.
Mhm.
Like like in order for me to get to a good spot, then I'm probably gonna have to be selling like 100 desk hubs a month, which right now I'll sell like around 50.
Okay.
And there's so much effort involved in making those 50 desk hubs. It's insane. So so I would need to bring somebody on to help me out with making it. And then maybe the amount of desk hubs I need to make goes up to 200 then because I have an employee, right?
Hmm.
So I'm almost thinking that down the line, like maybe yes, I'm still selling things that are easy for me to produce and I can slightly have like outsourced after I make them. So like I see myself more of like the ideas like innovator guy. So like I'm making new products and I'm making them better all the time. And then I have somebody I can go to fulfill actually like manufacturing and doing all the shipping and all of that. So I'm literally just fully focused on what is my next product going to be or how can I make my current product like really amazing. And then the complete other half of that when I say media is I think that pairing with the correct sponsors, getting the right ad revenue, uh, getting easier stuff out to like a fan base like merch or something like that that can be totally third partied. Uh, I think that growing the media side of things is going to be almost larger than growing the actual product side of things. And it hurts me to say that. Like
It's
growing
not.
a
It's
large
maybe you just
YouTube.
haven't discovered the right business model, right? It's
Yes.
because sure the media, is lucrative, but you're still kind of, if you're going to do sponsors or whatever, it's just like it's not a mistake that the biggest media creators are also doing products, right? Like it's
Yes.
because
You're
it's
right. You're right.
so it's a business model thing. Like for example, are you familiar with like innovation consultancies?
No.
Okay, so there's these businesses basically where it's like an outsourced R&D department,
Yes.
and they do crazy numbers. Like they can, like a client can be $1 million a year, but
I see.
basically what you do is just innovate for that company. And if you, even if none of it takes off, but the bet is that you're a person who is in tune with a market. Like
Yeah.
GitHub, for example, can just pay you a contract and say, hey, you're going to be our R&D department. Come up with 3 products this year, and that's it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And then you can do
Yes,
your
yes,
media, and you can get paid, and you can do all that. And it's just a matter of opening a door for that opportunity,
yes.
saying, "Hey, yeah, I'm interested in this kind of business model." Like Greg Eisenberg, Greg Eisenberg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
he
Yep.
has an agency that does it,
Oh, wow. Okay.
which is just like an outsourced R&D department. And
So,
that sounds like more up your alley because that's what
yes.
you're saying. You're like, I don't want to be stuck to one product and just making all these products. And now I'm thinking about employee and training an employee and their quality. And like it adds so much overhead energy wise, right? Of clarity, right? And when you're in the business of innovation, that's kind of all you're optimizing for is energy, I guess, like exponential energy.
You're so
Every
right. You're so
yeah.
right. Oh my God, that gives me goosebumps. Yeah, you're so right. I guess the main thing is I don't see a very like for right now, it's perfect and it's amazing and I love it what I'm doing, but I don't know if long run me sitting here in my basement manufacturing the things that I'm and handling fulfillment of the things that I'm making is going to be like the end all be all of like where I'm at.
Have you like looked into just outsourcing it completely? Like
Yes,
fulfillment,
yes, yes.
manufacturing, the whole thing?
Yeah, and so I just recently stumbled upon and that's really hard too because in the beginning I had this idea in my head that I was going to link up with somebody who was going to manufacture it and then they were going to like completely steal my thing and then they were going to just make it their own thing, right? Because I'm going to give them the designs on how to build this, and then they're going to have the software the firmware that I put on the actual device, and then I'm like, okay, so they're just going to go make it themselves. But I think that was really stupid. I think that was not the right way to think about it because, and I did have like a lot of people telling me, oh, you should get a patent, you should patent this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that probably is a good idea, but um, like even Elon came out and said patents are bullshit. You know,
Yeah.
like people believe, and I'm nowhere anywhere near that. I don't ever want to compare myself to that, but I'm just saying that like people want to. I think that a lot of people want to buy a DeskHub because they saw my story. I think that a small fraction of the people that are buying DeskHubs right now are buying them just because they see it and they say, "Oh, that's a cool device." Like the majority of the people that have bought a desk hub like know my whole story from the start, saw that I had 0 followers, I made something cool in my basement. I did it like as a side hustle and they like are like I want to support you, and they
I
message me
think
and they
I
say,
think there's a little bit of uh like the you're underselling yourself and you're underselling the
"Yeah,
product. You're kind of making it seem that like people are doing you some sort of charity, like to some extent. And
yeah,
it's not that. The product is awesome. You you connected with this identity of builders, mostly solo builders, developers who are so proud of what they're built and they can't show it to anyone. Like I can't show like when you use a piece of software, the more invisible the software is, the better it is. So when you use an amazing piece of
yeah,
software, you don't even know what's behind it. But this is kind of one step there where it's like, hey, so
yeah,
it does that, and then there's this original aspect of it. Like I'm getting the original. Like you can be ripped off, but there's a lot of people who want the original, right? And
yep,
so IP, IP is good if you want to exit. Like it's sure. I get where Elon Musk is coming from, and I do agree that patents slow down competition, and competition is kind of the fuel that makes markets vibrant and big and all of that. And you want to compete. You want to
yeah,
share everything and compete on distribution and media and brand
yes, yeah,
because no one can steal that from.
yep,
So definitely think about that, like, outsourcing the production and doing all of it, and then contracts, like, get a good legal team around you that can protect your rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely
So
that.
going back to the outsourcing, I finally had somebody reach out that I've been friends with like here on X for a really long time,
Yeah,
like since the beginning. And he was basically like, my family owns this business in India, and it's a really weird thing. Like a lot of this DeskHub stuff has been like, I don't know. I'm not like a crazy believer in like universe and like fate coming
yeah,
together, but it has been a very strange thing where a lot of pieces have just fallen in line. Where he reached out and he's like, my family has this massive business where we do CNC machining,
mhm.
we do electronics, we do manufacturing, like
That's cool.
basically
Yeah,
everything I would need at scale.
amazing. Yeah, bro. Just to think about it, like I also don't want to make this whole conversation about desk hub, because
Yeah, no, I
I
know.
do see that you're just a curious guy, right? You don't want to be hung up on one thing. And even the craftsmanship, you love that. But when I said, oh, you want to make one of one pieces, right? If that are super expensive, that's also not something that seemed to resonate with you.
No, I don't think I would be doing that. I
Yeah.
don't hold myself to that like artist level of standard, if that makes sense.
But is it because you're afraid to, or is it because it just doesn't vibe with you? Is it because you're saying, oh, I'm not an artist, in
No,
kind of a
it's definitely
self-deprecating way, or
yes, it's definitely a little bit I'm afraid to.
uh
And also, I get a little bit more joy out of seeing like a lot of people reach out to me and like seeing all the photos come in of people with their desktop on their desk, like that really like gets me like excited. And I don't think that having just like one piece out there for some like super wealthy dude to
hmm
enjoy would give me like the same like joy of
hmm
building stuff.
I get it. All right. So let's say you you're at peak impact. I'm gonna
Yes,
describe
yes.
my version that I
Go
see for
ahead.
you of
Go
peak
ahead. Do
impact.
it. Do it. I like
Okay.
it.
So you're in a beautiful workshop, right? Built for one. You're busting new products, like whatever, two, three new products. You have like a little consultancy going on. You have like one or two clients that are like, our innovation, our R&D department is Max Blade, right?
Yep.
And you're ripping a rhyme, as Dave Chappelle says, right? And what's the best phone call that can, hit your phone? Like the best opportunity, like
Okay.
collaboration, or
Yes. Yes. All right. So
what
first
is
of
that?
all, I do have to say that the best phone call is like my fiance calling me to say that I love you and I'm so
Hell
proud of
yeah.
you because I love that. Okay. I
That's
love
like
that. Okay, first of all, I gotta say that.
awesome.
Um, and then second of all, the best phone call to come through, honestly, it would be collaboration with like another indie maker that I like, and them coming to me with something that's really good
Mm.
and saying, "Hey, I want to make this thing and let's go do it." And I know that's kind of lame because I think most people like the best phone call would be like a large corporation calling them or something and being like, "We want to pay you $2 million to build this thing for us." But so like I built the thing for Marc Lou, I built the
Mhm.
desktop for Marc Lou, and now I'm building the click it button for Kaizo,
Mhm.
and I just love that. Like
Yeah.
I'm like a kid of the internet,
Mhm.
and I feel like there is no more internet than like me going all in building someone's dream product just off of
Mhm.
like a whim, you
Mhm.
know? So they put it out into the world, they put out a tweet, and then it's like boom, okay. I'm gonna spend the next week many hours a day building, crafting this thing, making it it unbelievable.
I love it. So it's like if someone was like, what do you call it, clickbait?
Click it. Yeah, click
Yeah,
it.
yeah. If someone came up with that idea and was like, "Hey, bro, let's do this," and you're
But
like, "Hell yeah,
but it has to be good, and
yeah,
it has to I don't know right now what makes something good, but I do kind of feel it a little bit when it's there. Like people
yeah,
will reach out to me. Just the other day, somebody reached out to me and they sent me this huge message and they have an amazing idea
yeah,
and it's so good, you know? And I'm like, I, I almost need to put a stop to it
yeah,
because I put myself in this position where now I am known as the guy that that when you have like a
yeah,
hardware idea, you go to him and you're like,
mm,
"Hey, I have this idea that you want to make," you know?
yeah.
And I don't know that feeling of like virality that came from when DeskHub like first took off when I made the initial one was
Mm.
just it was unbelievable. And so I think that if I could continue that sort of feeling that I get from providing like that much whatever you want to call it value to like a large scale of people, uh, then that would be amazing.
I think yeah, I think value is also a little because I feel, bro, like you need to embrace the artist a little more because whatever that idea was that was so amazing with the dude, and you like doing that, like why didn't you start building it right away? Like why is there no video of you building that idea like that? Like what stopped you? What resistance came up that was like, this is a great idea, let's leave it in the idea phase?
Well, right now it's lame, but it's a time thing.
Okay.
It's totally a time thing. Like even with setting up this podcast, you know, it's a crazy time thing. My fiance, she has a business of her own. I have a business that I run and I have a couple employees and then we have two kids that are under 3. And so it's hard and I thank whatever is out there, whatever we whatever you want to
Mhm.
believe in, that that Desk Hub took off and provided money in the way it did in the beginning, because it would have been hard for me to justify going so hardcore that I have in this mentally,
Mhm.
because I would feel like I'm wasting my time doing stuff that
Mhm.
doesn't provide financially for my family. It's sort of like, oh, dad is downstairs tinkering with stuff, you know,
Yeah,
wasting
yeah.
time.
There's this like loser kind of vibe to it when it doesn't bring,
Yes.
like, because you've heard the stories of, yeah, whatever, the 55-year-old that is still tinkering, living off his girlfriend or whatever, I feel it, you
That's
know.
my biggest fear. That
Yeah,
is my biggest fear right there.
yeah,
You know? And so I don't know. Like the build in public thing, the fact that the desk I made money was great. And then the other thing was it's like such a short feedback loop compared
mhm,
to anything I've done before. So
yeah,
like when I put out before I did build in public, actually during like COVID-ish, I tried to make a YouTube channel.
mhm,
And the feedback cycle on YouTube is so long, right? Because
mhm,
I would put a couple of days into making a video, post it, no one would see it, and then I would do the same thing again. And there was and the way I'm wired is I need some sort of feedback. So then
yeah,
I came to build in public, and there's people like yourself that as soon as I put something out, you're coming to me and saying, "Hey, you're doing a good job. Like you need
mhm,
to keep doing this." And it was so massive for me. And that's another thing where I'm like, I feel like in a weird way, I was built for this community type thing. You know,
mhm.
I have never felt that I fit in so well with something before, because literally with everything I've done in life, um, I've always felt like this like incongruency where like I don't fit in. with what I'm doing. Like especially in like college
Hmm.
and high school, and then even like the business that I run currently, like I have done a good job at it, but I've always felt like I don't really like fit
Hmm.
into
So tell me
this.
your story. Like that's the next question. Like, what is your story? Like the story of Max Play. What is that?
How far back in
But
how
as far
far
as you want to
back do you
go.
want me to go?
Yeah, as far as you want to go.
Uh
Earliest memory.
oh my God. Yeah. So I have parents that are both entrepreneurs, and my dad and mom, both of them are just unbelievable like they just execute, you know? Like growing up, and I didn't realize that it was not normal as a kid. But so growing up, my dad would be in his office, you know, and he would be on the phone just like in the computer. He'd be drawing up ads on Facebook and Google, and then he'd be calling people and handling stuff. He owns a large fitness business. He owns a gym, and he owns a bunch of rental properties. And so and my mom was a realtor at the time. And so they're out there just like handling things like
Yeah.
really hardcore, you know, and I don't have that level of like deep whatever you want to call it, like executive function like he does, where
Okay.
where he can have like a long-term vision, and then he can sit down at his computer and every single day, like clockwork, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like we have this nickname for him, or at least I started calling him this. I would call him the monitor, you
Hmm.
know, because he can have his eye on so many things at once, and it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
you
That
know,
sounds,
and
yeah.
he can have so many employees and managers and processes dialed in,
It's just
you
like
know.
capacity is insane. Yeah.
It's insane, and
Yeah.
I don't have that, you know. I think that I'm more of like the I don't really have that high executive function like that, but I can sit down and I can build something crazy like DeskHub. Like I can do that.
Mhm.
You know, I can innovate, and I can go like sit in the shower and have these crazy ideas come to me, and then figure out how I'm going to go make it happen, and then do wild deep research on it for 48 hours straight. You know, I don't
Mhm.
know a lot of people like me where when I get an idea in my head, I could literally sit at my computer and just think about how
Mhm.
I'm going to make it happen and research it for crazy amounts of time, you know?
Okay.
So I grew up with them being entrepreneurs, and it was very successful. I went to school. I had a absolutely miserable time at it. Like in high school, I was always like I was like a popular kid in high school, you know, like I was like prom king, you know, like I was like
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and I don't even like saying that because like it's like I'm scared of being the guy who like peaked in high school or whatever.
Yeah.
But I left high school, and then I went to college, and socially I just like suffered so bad. And
Interesting. Yeah.
it
But
gave me
why was
so
that?
much. I don't know. I have no idea. I think a lot of it was that I commuted to a college and I didn't live
Uh,
there, you know? And
yeah.
so
So you weren't in the in crowd, like you weren't
I
like in
was
the
not in.
dorms and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel it.
Did you go to school and live at
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I understand because like most of the groups are like made in like orientation, right? Like freshman orientation.
Exactly.
And like
Exactly.
if you commute and especially if you commute and you don't care in the beginning, you kind of miss out on all that social bonding that happens in early on. So I definitely feel that.
100%.
Yeah.
So it just tanked my my confidence in myself, you know, and so I was dealing with crazy anxiety, you know, like insane levels of like having panic attacks and just not doing well mentally, you know, and I still suffer a lot from
Especially because the
anxiety.
contrast, because you were like in high school, you were like the man.
Exactly.
And then you kind of like,
Exactly. That is like 100% what happened. And so I started this business that I do, launch personal training in 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 college, and it it was making good money. Like maybe it was making like 20K a month or something like that, between 15 and 20K a month, which was amazing.
mhm,
And I had this group of trainers that worked for me that were incredible, and they're all part-time. So they would all just come in here and there, and they were mainly like kids in college, and they were around my age, so I had this really good group of people around me. And so I would mainly do sales. I would do
mhm.
one-on-one sales with people.
Yeah.
I've done thousands of one-on-one sales consultations, like literally thousands.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And it's all face to face. And it's
Mhm.
mostly with people like 50 plus.
Okay.
And I started doing this at like 18. So it gave me a
Okay.
lot of sales experience, like a
Yeah.
ton. And at first I was so nervous. I
Mhm.
remember the first time I had to do a sales meeting, like I thought I was going to throw up in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
and it made me, and in the beginning, I was so scared to ask people for money,
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, I think a lot of people are scared to ask people for money. And doing this helped me get over that fear of asking people for money. But,
Yeah.
so yeah, I built that. And then like over COVID and stuff like that, I became less interested in it. And I lost a ton of the members of my team because they graduated from school and all that.
Mhm.
And I never rebuilt it back to what it was.
Okay, so just like a recap to kind of get to that point, right? You're in high school, crushing it.
Yes.
You go to college, you kind of miss the groove, right? It
Yes.
affects you, but you still have this like background of like your dad owns gyms, you're in good shape. You're like, let me do something with that. You start a personal training business, that grows, becomes good, and then COVID hits and it kind of throws a monkey wrench in the whole thing, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
then what happens?
And I don't want to blame it on COVID too, because I could have recovered from COVID no
Yeah, yeah, for
problem.
sure. But
Like, you know what
like
I mean?
that is
But
just the sequence of events. It's not
yes,
it's
yeah,
not about
yeah.
blamings or whatever. This is just what happened,
So
right?
then so then I
Yeah.
think that starts sort of like my depression.
Hmm.
And, and I don't want
Yeah.
this to turn into a therapy session, but
It is mostly like I used to call it blind strategy workshop, but it is CEO therapy for sure.
you're incredible at it, by the way.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Like
Appreciate
I
it.
can't even, I was so
Yeah.
excited this morning. Like I woke up nervous, but I was so excited because I've seen the show and stuff. And I'm like,
Mhm.
he does such a good job. Like honestly, I'm
Thank you.
like,
I
it's
appreciate it.
unbelievable.
I appreciate it.
Um,
But yeah, so the monkey wrench is in, and
yes.
you're like, whatever circumstances, because there's in all of these stories, there's like 10,000 things happening in your personal life that is affecting all of this. And I don't want to get into the personal stuff, but you end up
Yes.
you end up in kind of a, depression state in, your words. What happens then? Like how does that turn into,
So I
DMX and DeskHub?
yes, yeah, TMX and DeskHub. So
Yeah.
so I start take and I don't think I've told anyone this besides my fiance, but I start waking up at 4:50 every morning before I go to my personal training situation, and I start taking this guy it's called Zero to Mastery, um full what was it called? It was called Full Stack Web Developer uh 2023 or something like that.
Okay.
And this guy built the most insanely good, like all-inclusive full stack development course that you could take.
Uh,
And so I would spend 2 hours every morning with my notebook and my computer, and I would learn to code.
awesome.
And I did that for so long,
Hmm.
and I would wake up early, and then I'd be tired during the day. I'd be like tired from trying to learn to code every day. And I would build these horrible like little projects, they're like terrible online.
Yeah, yeah.
And I also like tried to do the YouTube thing, which that never really worked. And and I was not doing well. I was not feeling good because nothing I was doing, A, felt like it resonated with me, or
Mm,
B, provided, I don't know why I keep saying that, but provided financially for for my family in the way that I wanted it to,
mm,
in the way that I've seen like my parents provide for me as a kid. I didn't have kids at the time, but
yeah.
I wasn't having the success that I wanted or having like the feeling of fitting in that I wanted. And so, even when I made like DeskHub, I was
Hmm.
working on a project that was not working. I was
Hmm.
working on a SaaS to collect testimonials from
Hmm.
people for gyms. So
Okay.
to collect testimonials from gym members and then
Mm,
have it automatically post on their website,
okay.
and it was not doing well.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And so then I just kind of like on a whim. And I remember it feeling so good when I was doing it. I was like,
Mm,
I don't know if this is going to do anything, but I'm going to make this device and I'm going to post it on the internet.
mm,
And then I posted that and that took off. And then I kind of had to be like, I cannot deny the fact that this is finally something that feels right. And then people are liking it, you
mhm.
know? I have to just at least go down this path a little bit and try it out. And that's where I am now.
Yeah.
I'm sort of like tiptoeing down the path of like, I think I like what's going on here. This
Oh yeah.
feels right.
No, it's great because you've hit it like because there's two ways I see this kind of exploding. One is less realistic than the other, just from my research. And you can either do the habit tracking GitHub style, you know, on every other kind of like marketing, writing, whatever. Because everybody's like adopting this kind of GitHub style representation of their habits. Or you can just double down on the same market, right? Of this market of like developers, right? Which what you're doing, like you're doing the click it, you can do like a keyboard. I don't know, I'm thinking like just
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
full keyboard that is, for developers with all the cool buttons and stuff.
yeah,
And like this kind of artisanal, because if you think about like developers, like we're super nerds. You got the people that are like, playing whatever the Dungeons and Dragons, right? And
yes,
and like we love this kind of lore culture, right? And all the little,
yes,
the
yes.
wands and the stuff, all that, right?
You're right. You're right.
You
You're
know.
right.
So I feel like that's a more fun direction to kind of just own that, you know, customer profile
Yes.
and just
Yeah.
make cool shit for them. The key, the mouse, whatever.
It's
Just
it's
yeah,
funny that you say that because that's exactly what Marc Lou messaged me the first day that I
amazing. Yeah.
released it. He messaged me that same thing.
Mhm.
He said our community, we like Legos and
Mhm.
you become the Legos guy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you could make
Uh-huh.
an adult version of Legos basically with your desk hub and your click it and all of that. And so yeah, I gotta
But
figure
the
out what
using is
direction.
like the Legos thing, like build it yourself, is a smaller. Like it's kind of Steve Jobs' story all over again, right? Like Steve Wozniak wanted to build the computers and wanted everybody to make the hardware and whatever, and then Steve Jobs realized no, people just want to use the thing. Like they like
Yes.
the software experience. They don't like the Lego experience. The Lego experience people are tiny, but the people who want to code and do software is a bigger community, right?
Yes.
So sure, like you can sell the do-it-yourself desktop kit,
Yes.
Lego style, but I feel like the ready-made, like whatever the click it and the thing, and I don't know, like you're the creative genius here,
No,
but
yeah.
that
People,
software developer more, not the hardware developer. You're the hardware developer for the software developer. So it's like right, that sweet spot I feel like is such a good customer. But definitely Marc Lou is also like storytelling genius, so like he he's seeing something that I might not be seeing.
no, 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 but you're 100% right. He wasn't saying like you should put out for them to build it yourself. He's saying like more in the way that like this community appreciates like collectibles. Like he
Hmm.
followed that up with something saying if you make something amazing, people are going to keep wanting the next thing that you put out just because
Yes.
they want to collect the next whatever Max Blade. And that sounds gross me saying that, but they want to
But don't
see,
say
you
that,
know.
like, bro, like, like there's this kind of like thread of first you comparing yourself with your parents. Like, you gotta drop that. They're different
Yes.
people. They're completely
Yep.
different people. You know, like you have executive function. It's just not the same kind of executive function as your dad's. You know, and his interests are different. He was born in a time where he needed to manage whatever 50 people and the balance sheet and the future and the vision and all of that, you know.
Yes.
And he's like doing, like you're saying, real estate, and the gym business also has gyms and real estate embedded in it. Kind of, you got to think about all of that. And he was born for that time, and he's crushing it. And you're in a different time, bro. Like, we're in a place where with this, like, you know AI stuff, you can pretty much be a solopreneur
Yeah.
and thrive. It's not even like, oh, solopreneur and kind of make it by, and if you build something big, you have to sell it to, like the guy who built Roller Coaster Tycoon is the guy who is my hero, right? Like, he built everything in that video game in assembly language. Like,
Which is insane.
get out of
Which
here.
is
Like,
insane. I mean,
insane, right?
greatest game ever, and he
Yeah,
builds it from start in a language that's not even made to
yeah,
build video games.
yeah. Nobody, yeah, everything. He just, I think, outsourced the sprites, like just
Yeah.
the design of the sprites and the
Yes.
music, but everything else from scratch in assembly language, just insane. But he also had to sell it to like a distribution company, right? And we're at a time where you have the distribution. You can just spend 2 years, 3 years on X, you know, making entertaining content, lifting people up, sharing your story, doing cool shit, and you kind of build your own distribution channel. So we're in a place where you're thriving in that era. So I would drop this kind of narrative of like, oh, the Max Blade, oh, disgusting. No, Max Blade, like, you
Yeah.
should own that. you
Yeah.
know, you should
Yeah.
own it. Like, and both, like, the self-deprecation and the humility is good, and it is a good practice. Like, I always tell people, humility is a practice. It's not just something you're born with. Like, you have to actually go and practice humility, and it comes in the form of self-deprecation, and not, when someone gives you a compliment, you're not like, oh, but it can be both, right? You can be proud and also be humble about it, right?
Yes.
So that's the modality I think is the healthiest way to approach this. So definitely be proud of your name, be proud of the things you build, even if you want to put a mask on it, right? Like, like Bane style. Nobody paid attention until I put on the mask,
No.
and that is also cool because, like, I did that, right? I have an avatar. It's not my face.
Yes.
Because when I had my PFP of my face, when I see my face, I'm like reminded of me now or me in the past or me or whatever. But when I did the self portrait, it's like I can imagine all this stuff. So it is like a mask almost
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
who I want to be or what I want to represent. So you can do that in a brand, that is not technically you, and adopt that and be proud of that and make that like Walt Disney. They all, he was so aware of this, right? In his company that he used to go around, he's like, I am not Walt Disney, right? What we're building here is not who I am. This is a name that represents family, and he did that great with his own name. Um, and fun fact, by the way, he wanted to call it the Disney Brothers Studio. His brother was like, "No, bro, you're the best."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So, uh, fun fact, but so I love it. Like, the story is making sense. I like that you're in the middle of it. I like that you're exploring, and I do want to challenge you to build more. Like, when you find these great ideas, you gotta do it, bro.
Yeah. No, I
You
know.
gotta
I
do it. Like,
know.
the speed from idea to hardware to actual manifestation has to be. You gotta shorten that as much as possible.
Yes. Yeah. I'm thinking that for right now, if I could get to a point where I'm building a product in public and then I'm making an amazing YouTube video about it,
Yeah.
and I'm for now, I know it sounds like a long time, but if I'm doing that in a month and I have
Mhm.
a website available and I'm able to put up sales for it in a month period and sort of test the product out, sort of like in the way that people do for software. But I think in software it'd be a lot easier for you to get that out in like a week. Like a good
Yeah.
constraint would be like a week to have whatever. I'm gonna have my MVP out and I'm gonna see if people like it. But for
Mhm.
me, having from idea to an MVP of my hardware in a month and have an amazing YouTube video made about it so that I can share the process and it will help with marketing as well, I think would be like a really good spot for me.
Yeah.
Um, I'm thinking right now that it's would be beneficial for me to sort of outsource the YouTube type thing because
Like the
I
editing
have
and
so
stuff like
much,
that.
yeah, the editing.
Yeah.
I have so much on my plate and I'm trying to add more.
Yeah.
And then like I got people like you who are
Hmm.
like, you gotta be going. You
Yeah.
gotta go, go. And I'm
Because I
like,
like
I'm
the ads more
going.
than the promotional stuff you did. Like
Yes,
you building, if there's no cost to it, like streaming,
yes,
where it's like you're not editing, you're not, like for me, I don't edit these interviews much. I just go and,
yeah,
and cut dead spaces, or if we're talking about something that doesn't make you look good, I kind of like cut that out or whatever.
yep,
So the editing for me is so fast. I do it in the same day, right?
awesome.
But if it did take so much time, I would not do. So
Yeah,
100% you should be in that zone of like that creative energy. Like you want to maximize time in that creative energy, because the more you're on that time, but but yeah, bro, like you creating, documenting how you create it is cool. But if it takes so much time, bro, I would still focus on just pushing products out there and just focusing on the promotional videos, like what you did with DeskHub, bro. Like what
yeah,
you did with DeskHub was so fun, because it was more fun than me watching you make a DeskHub from start to
yes,
finish, right?
yeah,
Because you
yep,
kind of had this like, oh, Juan hose and all that.
yep,
Like
yep.
it was so creative to come up with these like storylines, and then shooting them. It didn't look like you spent so much time editing them, right? It was
Yes,
like a
no,
couple of
no.
takes,
Yeah,
and you cut it,
literally,
put some music on it, and we're good.
literally,
So
yeah.
so I would think about that, like, kind of the first direction you took. That is a fun direction,
It
you
is
know.
really I 100% agree with you that I think the focus needs to be on like yeah, I make this product and I get it out there, but I think like an equal amount of my effort needs to go back into making those fun videos
Yes.
that got me to where I am right now.
I agree 100%. I think you coming up with these storylines, because it's like what Marc Lou was telling you. It's like you're representing this community, like all the jokes everybody got, right, in that
Yeah.
community.
Yep.
And you show to anybody else outside the community, they're gonna be like, what the hell is he talking about? Right?
Exactly. A
But
thousand percent.
yeah, but this community is loving it, because it's so creative, it's so fun, right? And it's
Yeah.
also helping your bottom line, because you're selling your stuff,
Yes.
and that's what's great. Like I have like a an offshoot, building public fleet, and I allow
Yes.
promotion. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't allow promotion, it should be just building. And it's like, no, it's an entrepreneurial community. I want you to practice your sales here, and I don't want you to see this place as I just want to take, but definitely come and try to pitch a story, make it fun, and sell the thing, put a link. I don't care. Right.
Yes.
So 100%. I love this. Like if you can do that every month or every 2 months, like 6 products a year with the whole marketing campaign,
Yeah, with
of
the whole
fun,
deal.
of fun shit, right? That'll be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
funny
what? Yeah.
because because I'll run into people in real life or whatever, and
Yeah.
somehow they'll end up like stumbling upon the whole deal, like
Mhm.
with the crazy videos and stuff like that. And it's almost like they don't know how to classify it, and I don't blame them because I have no idea how to classify it either.
Yeah.
But they're like, they'll see, like yesterday I saw someone in public, and they're like, I saw what you did with the whole
Yeah.
video
Yeah.
and product thing that you did, and I'm just like, I'm so embarrassed, but
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, what did you see? Like my
Yeah.
mind starts racing. I'm like, what did you see? Did you see the video of me in the shower pretending to cry? Like,
That's
what did you
hilarious.
see? What did you see?
Like, did I tell you I had a twin brother?
Did I tell you? It's
He did
not
some
me.
crazy shit.
It's not me.
Uh, but yeah, bro,
Uh,
you should lean into it and whatever. Like one of the best things I ever did was just delete all my old social media stuff that had my old friends that are gonna give me that fear of what are you know what are
yes.
they gonna think or who cares what they think.
Yeah, no,
like
exactly. It's funny because
it,
I don't really have that online. Like I
mhm,
could go and post and I did just the other day.
yeah,
I finally like I finally went back to my like whatever we want to call it, like my social media that I've had since I was
mhm,
younger, like my Instagram and stuff like that. And I finally 'cause I haven't told like anyone in my real life besides like my close family about what's going on X and stuff like
yeah,
that. And so I finally broke it down from whatever, from very start to finish in a story on
yeah,
Instagram. And it felt so good. It was like a weight
yeah,
was lifted, honestly. Because I
yeah,
was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna tell everybody what happened and what went
yeah,
down. And then so I think you can go either path, really. You could just delete it and then just move on,
mhm.
or you could just go full transparency, which I think
Integrated.
for
Yeah,
me
no,
that
it's
felt better.
yeah,
I was just like, I just gotta tell people like
yeah, no, it's
whatever, this
it's
crazy shit happened online and
I love it. Yeah, you're right. It's so many different ways about it, and not every community is the same, right? That people grew up in, but I love it, bro. Like I think what you're doing is right, and you should definitely keep going. And what are your superpowers?
so I think that first of all, I would never say that I have any, but the
We're gonna kill this. Like
I
every
know
time
we're
now
gonna
you're gonna
kill it.
say
I
something
know.
like that, it's gonna be like,
I'm gonna think of you.
yeah, Zayd's gonna come up like, hey, we don't say
I
this.
I am not like crazy talented, and people have seen it
Oh
on the
my
live
God.
stream that like no, I'm serious with with the coding or anything like that. But I my biggest superpower is that I can sit there and like I said, I can research something like beyond I can out research anyone,
Yeah.
and I will go to the wildest depths of the internet and I will read and read and read about everything until I figure out the problem that I'm having.
Mhm.
And so like it's funny because people try to copy DeskHub
Mhm.
and I saw like the hardware that they used in
Yeah.
it and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, they're gonna have that issue.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't
Because you
know.
spent so much time.
They
Yeah.
don't know that they're gonna
Mhm.
have that issue. That's gonna be rough. That's gonna be a rough one to work around. And so yeah, I can just sit down and I don't know, besides like maybe my dad or something like that, I don't know a lot of people like me where almost obsessively when I get an idea in my head, I can even if I know nothing about it,
Mhm.
I can sit there and research it and research it and research it.
But do you find that because I had the same thing,
Yes.
but now that I'm building, I don't have time for that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, like I used to read like a book a week.
I can tell.
Yeah, this is not even.
I love it.
This is just like a collection like of these are the greatest books I've ever read. But I've read way more. Like I
Yes.
read on Kindle. I don't read like physical books.
And you have amazing recall too, which I read a lot, but I don't have the recall you have. Where like I love that you can when you're talking to these people, you can pick out uh something that you've read from whatever Walt Disney or
Yeah, like
like Steve
stories.
Jobs
Yeah,
and
yeah.
apply that, which I've
Mhm,
never been able to do that, but
mhm.
I love that.
Thank you. But now that I'm building, bro, it's all my time is building. Like
Yeah.
all my time is just building, and like maybe it's I need to like figure something else out. But like
But
you
doesn't
think
that hurt? Doesn't that hurt like mentally when you turn away that side of you to do to get
it
like
is,
almost obsessive about?
I do feel like it is costing me something,
Yeah.
but
Because I
I
know for
do,
me it does.
yeah.
Like it almost it pains me to if I have something that starts like
Mm,
almost eating away at me, it's like you need to research this and go deep on it. If I don't go down that path, but
yeah.
I get what you mean because you're building something right now, and
Mhm,
so you almost want to say like time doing that is going to be wasted. I need to focus
mhm.
on putting out
Yeah, so
what
like
I'm
you're like
doing right now.
I'm good at research, and it's like, but I guess you're building new things, right? You're building things that you don't know how to build, so you're kind of forced to research. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, but it's the same thing. It's the same
Yeah.
thing because you're building caravan notes, right?
Hmm.
And so like it's the same thing where it's like I'm sure unless you're like the greatest programmer of all time, I'm sure there's stuff that you have come across where you're like I don't know how this works like fundamentally and I need to
Mm.
dive in here and I need to get like a basic understanding.
Yeah, the modality is different, I guess, because I'm also learning a lot with the social media stuff, like just posting and then like, oh, this is changing, and then I do this, and then like, so I guess you're right. I'm still learning, but it's not from books anymore,
Yes.
and it hurts me a little bit, because I'm like,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
there's
saying.
so many amazing people, because like I started reading just principles books, like Good to
Yes.
Great and all this stuff and like strategy, and then I started reading about people and biographies, and then it was like, wow.
I
I
would,
opened up this like $10 box of just amazing stories, and they're so generous with like what they learned and the
yeah.
stories and all of that, and it's like I'm like, I want to read about all these people.
You know
And
what's
right now,
funny is
yeah.
I have never given the autobiographies a chance ever,
Damn.
which I feel like I need to. Like I have my bookshelf, whatever, and
Yeah.
it's all nonfiction self-help. Like it's the most
Yes.
cringe library you've ever seen. Like if somebody came over to my house and looked at it, I would be like, "Don't look at that.
Oh, bro,
Don't look at."
I was deep in it. Like this one right here is kind of almost self-help. Like I
Yep.
got the obstacle is the way, 0 to 1, get together. But I was down the whole thing, bro. Like what started me on all of this was Tony Robbins. Like I did, what was
Yes.
it? It's not Date with Destiny. Whatever. His he has
I
Awakened the
know what
Giant
you're talking about.
Within
It's right behind me.
audiobooks.
It's right
Yeah.
behind me. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly
He
what you're
has the
talking about.
audiobooks, and then he has the other one, the ultimate whatever life-changing thing. And
Yep.
that cleared a lot of things for me. And I'm still into self-help. I love that genre.
Yes.
But after you read a ton of that, and then you do the same thing for business, which is the self-help for business, like, oh, this is how you do the marketing stuff. This is how you do then all of that, you're like, I need to see it in practice. I can't just take your word for it that this is the way. I need to see people actually apply this and get results. And the only way I found the fastest way to do that is read autobiographies and be like, oh, amazing. He used this principle, blah, 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 to do that. So maybe this has some truth to it. And then
Yeah.
you can start filtering all of that. But yeah, autobiographies are great. But
I need to set aside time to just actually do it. You know, like I
yeah,
need to just whatever. I'm gonna read this autobiography, whatever.
but I feel like the superpower question I might just delete from the from my workshop.
Why? It's good.
Just feel like, bro, like the research, I'm not digging it because like the ads you made, bro, were so good. And
That's true. That's true. I
that
haven't
had
thought
nothing to
about
do with
that before.
research, right?
Yeah. Yep. No, it had nothing to do with research at all, and I have no idea where that came from, to be honest. That surprised me
It
too.
was so professional. Like I was like, like the first time I saw it, I'm like, he has practice in this. Like he worked at it, and an ad
Everybody kept
agency.
saying that too.
It was
Everybody kept
so good,
saying
bro.
that. And oh God,
It was
it
so
was
good.
very strange, you know?
Yeah, your storytelling, your ads,
Mm,
because like the self-reported "what's your superpower?" It like I've done this now hundreds of times. It's never a good question because it's always underselling themselves, right? Like it's
yeah.
and it's and it's yeah. You
I
have so
will
many other.
say, I will say that I think that a part of like the funny videos came a tiny bit, I hate to say it,
Yeah,
from the researching
yeah,
because man, before I ever posted and build in public,
yeah.
I read build in public like
Mhm.
it was my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, oh my God. I turned on notifications for everybody I could find that had whatever, anything to say in build in public, and my phone would ding and I'd be like, "All right, what is so and so saying? All right, and I started with like with Nico, Dan, Levels, both Dan's,
hmm
Mindrew, and I think his last name is like Kolkov,
hmm
Marc Lou, and then like Danny Postma or
yeah.
whatever, you know? And I would just like I set a notification for them, and anytime they would even a reply to someone, I would have a notification for it, and it would ding. And
Yeah, I guess you're right.
for a
Yeah,
long
you
time, I would get the
understanding the
heartbeat.
market.
Yeah, I would get the heartbeat for how to handle yourself as like a person there, and just like what kind of content they put out, what kind of stuff did well, what kind of stuff like didn't do well. And I was just slowly like integrating myself and stealing, and I don't want to call it stealing, but I was trying to like sponge in what they were saying, and like really like I went crazy with it. I can't describe how crazy I went with it. You know, my phone would ding and I would
Yeah.
read it and I would study it. Like it was like I'd be like, "All right, Nico, why did he post this right now?"
Mm.
You know, I'm like,
Yeah, so it's funny you say that because it is such a big part, right? Understanding, like that's the question. The next question is like, who are you serving?
"Yes.
And with you, I feel like the answer is build in public, right?
Yes."
And what made you choose that? Like,
I don't know because honestly, and it hurts me to say, but when
yeah,
I first came to build in public, my
yeah,
initial reaction was, "This is weird." I
yeah,
was like, "This
yeah,
is strange," you know. And then I didn't like the term indie hacker. I was really
yeah,
like, I was like, indie
what?
hacker. What does that mean?
Yeah,
Like indie? I never resonated with the word indie. Also, I'm like indie, like
yeah,
isn't indie almost kind of a little bit self-deprecating? Like you're kind of like putting yourself into a box of like this isn't gonna grow past an indie stage or something like
yeah, like a
that.
folk song, folk singer,
Yes.
indie.
No, yeah, you're right. 100%. 100%. That is exactly what I felt like.
That's
And
so funny.
so I don't know why I picked gravitated towards the build and public community so hardcore, but I don't think it was like my intention. It just kind of happened because I saw because I ended up turning notifications on randomly. I don't even know
Is it
why
because
I
you were
did
like
that.
building? Is it because you were like learning the React stuff and like that's kind of what?
Yes, you're right. You're right. That was definitely part of it. That was part
Yeah,
of it because you know Florin Pop.
hmm
I followed him so long ago, and
yeah,
like I would watch him on my TV in my living room do coding before I even
mm,
knew how to write one line of code. I had no
yeah,
idea what he was doing, and for some reason I would watch him for like an
yeah,
hour in my living room just write stuff with code, and I was so impressed by it. This is before AI or anything. I'm like, oh my God, this guy just made a clock online
yeah, yeah, yeah.
from his brain. And that
So,
got me
so
hooked.
Florent, okay, so
And
Florent kind of got you into.
he was in the build and public community.
Hmm
So it just kind of weirdly happened. And then he started posting some Marc Lou stuff. And then I was like, wow, this is a weird whole thing. You know what I mean? Like this is
That's awesome. So, because it's like you need to leave in 20 minutes, and this
yeah, I do.
is
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm trying to like land in a because most of the time this workshop people have like a focused direction, right?
Yes.
And I'm trying to help them get rid of all obstacles and resistance and all of that. And with you, due to the time and also due to the nature of your story, I feel like I don't want you to focus at this point, right? Like I want you to just go nuts and just follow this creativity passion and like kind of cut this time from idea to manifestation and do more of the fun videos, like the promotional stuff, because that is what is like as a person in this community, that is what is missing in this community is this creativity.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they just want to make money, they just want to, what's this guy doing, let me just do exactly what he's doing, and it's kind of a watered down version, and they're like, oh well, woe is me, nobody's buying mine. Yeah, because it sucks, because there's no heart in it, there's no you know
Yeah.
identity in it, like and with your stuff, like I feel like the best thing you can do is kind of every time you catch yourself saying something self-deprecating, you know, think about that twice and be like, you know what? Let me double down on the opposite side. Like every time you're like, oh, this is it's a little cringe, it's too much Max Blade. Be like, well,
I
for the next year, I'm gonna do double Max Blade every time I feel that, right?
like that.
Because I think what you're doing is great, and in terms of the business side of things, definitely co-packer, whatever it is, if you can outsource it, it's good, I think, to do the first 100 units and, kind of do like a special edition, handmade Max Blade style, numbered
Yes.
and, more expensive, also lean into a little bit luxury because I think a lot of this community do like status symbols
Yeah.
and you doing like, whatever special commissions, 10, like, as because the little Viking GitHub thing was so cool when I saw it. I'm like, God damn, I want one.
I want this special one.
Yeah, I want the
Yeah.
special one, and so like these kind of stuff, limited drops, like the Christmas drop, like the red and green one,
Yeah.
like definitely do seasonal cool stuff, but outsource the basic model just as an income stream, right? You can
Yes.
because like you said, you don't want to be the dude who's like 55 with like, living off your girlfriend and with the rich dad and whatever. And it's like, oh, and
Yeah.
you can't take care of yourself. And it's like nobody wants that,
No.
right?
No.
So definitely and open up the doors for the things you want, right? Like sponsorships. I should be able to sponsor you super easy today. It shouldn't be
Yes.
a difficult process, right? So
You're right.
whatever that is, make it easy to contact you or even buy the slot in an application and you just approve it, right? So that's kind of one revenue stream.
What do you think about the whole sponsorship thing? Because a lot of people in Build in Public don't do sponsorships. And I
I
don't know
think
if it's because they have so much pride in just like I build my own products and I get my money from my products, but I don't see it like happening in this community when it happens everywhere else.
bro, there's so many business models that are just not embraced by anybody that has so much money potential. And it's literally as creative as you can make. Like if you can make the money however creatively you can, do it. You don't need permission,
Yeah.
you don't need the predecessor, you don't need anything.
Yeah.
If it happens for you, fucking embrace it and move on. Like I think sponsorships 100%. Like if Stadler, whatever, like the pen company wants to sponsor Caravan Notes and they have their logo and like great, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%,
And
100%.
it's
I
so it's like, yeah, open the doors up. Like the innovation age, like, hey, for $250,000, I'll dedicate 4 hours a day for just
yeah,
have all of these things that are opportunities that can land in your lap. Just leave the door open.
yes.
Create the
Yep.
door and leave it open.
Yeah, because
because it's
I
yeah.
had a couple people reach out, and I feel like I wasted some of the opportunities because I was like, oh, well, that's not something that so and so would do. They
Don't
wouldn't
even
take a
think like that.
sponsor on. Yeah, no, I know. It's not the right way to think about it,
No,
but I think it's easy to get caught in that cycle of like,
yeah. Fear. It's what it is. It's fear. Lean into fear. Like
yeah,
whatever you feel afraid, eh, go the opposite side, not recklessly. Like I said, like consult lawyers and uh, like something that worked out great for me in my life is always talk to five people before I make a decision, and it has to be five. And like because I read like this math book once,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and they were like,
yeah,
and they're like, the best of five is usually in like the nine, like top 5% of the best people. If you can find the best of five, talk to five professionals in anything you want to. Like for example, you're doing the if you're outsourcing the DeskHub thing, right? You have this one dude who's your friend who's like, I got the factory. Go talk to four more people and see what they
absolutely,
offer, And then if he's still the best, great,
yes,
But if there's another best guy, like why would you risk your future income for just relationship online? Not that I
100%.
have anything against that guy. Like he might be a fantastic guy and he might be the best, and he would, if he was as honest and as a great person, he would tell you go talk to four other people. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
definitely be prepared. Be what's the word? Whatever, prepared.
yes, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I know
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah.
But lean into fear, bro. Like move in the direction of fear. Don't chicken out from things just because nobody's done it before or whatever. Be the first. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
And today is a big step for that. You know, like I told you, like
yeah,
doing this type of podcast situation, I can't even explain to you how far out of my comfort zone it is. You know,
yeah.
normally people have reached out before and it's an immediate no. Like I wouldn't even have a second thought, you know. But this is another weird universe thing where we've gone back and forth since the beginning, since
Yeah.
I've been on here. I feel like you are kind of like a heartbeat for the build in public community, like
Thank you.
seriously. And I feel like you have such a good handle on what's going on. And like if somebody were like, I need to have I need to figure out what build in public is, like who's the guy who's gonna guide me and show me what's going on. Like
Yeah.
it's you,
Thank you.
it's you, and you built
I
this huge
appreciate it.
community, and so when you reached out and asked, it felt like I couldn't say no because
Thank
I'm
you.
like,
No, I
A,
really appreciate it. Yeah.
you supported me so much, and then B, it feels like saying no to the community as a whole because of who you are. Like it would feel like me saying like no indie
Yeah.
hacking in general. Like you are indie hack. Like no.
I love it. I really appreciate it, but I want to end with a couple more questions because we have
Go ahead.
15 minutes.
Go
I
ahead.
want to use all the time I have.
Yes.
All
Go
right.
ahead. Yes.
Okay. So this one is a good one, all right? So imagine there's a supervillain who's also max play. Okay.
Okay.
But he's 100 times better, more efficient, whatever 100 times better means to you, right? Describe that villain.
Hmm. There's a villain and he's 100 times. So I think that that villain would immediately probably I don't know, that's a hard one. I think that I think that the villain would spend less time focusing on things that are that feel good. Like I think the villain probably would have put out 10 units of DeskHub and then immediately had that outsourced uh and been moving on to the next project. I don't think that the villain would spend as much time as I do with talking to people in the community and maybe Like I could almost see eviler side of myself that doesn't even look at the replies, doesn't even
Mm.
look at what's going on in the community, and I'm just making content and I'm shipping it via an outside tool. So whatever it is, Postbridge, I'm making content and I'm shipping it. I'm not even looking at what happens to it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I'm here making my product. I'm putting up the for sale page. I'm charging an high amount of money. I'm lying to people that I only have 10 units available when I'm actually selling 100 and it's priced twice as high. And I'm saying, hey, this is handmade when I'm actually having it manufactured in India. And then instead of signing the cards myself, I have somebody signing them for me, you know, because that was a deal where I had my family come and help me, and they're like, all right, do you want us to help write the thank you part on the cards? And I'm like, no, like every card needs to be written by myself. It's whatever. Like
Yeah,
and when I make them, I sit there and I think about the people. As crazy as it sounds, I think about you enjoying it as you get it. And I don't
right.
think the villain would take time to do any of that
But why
stuff.
is that 100 times better, you think?
It's 100 times better because I waste a lot of time on things that don't necessarily move the needle financially, but make me feel good ethically. That I'm that I'm responding to people when they comment. I'm responding to messages.
But maybe
I'm
that is
not
the
just posting
financial.
and moving on, posting, moving on. I didn't immediately just outsource and patent DeskHub and then go to the next idea. And I don't know.
Yeah, I feel that, but a lot of times I understand the time wasting part of it,
Yes.
but at the same time, you don't know if this is the least lucrative way of going about things. Like this might be the most lucrative way of going about things, is being this caring and thoughtful and like,
I hope so.
yeah,
I hope
yeah,
so.
yeah,
We're gonna find out. We're
yeah. You should do an experiment, one
we're
month
gonna
of Evil Max.
Oh my
All right, bro.
God.
So since it's about ethics also, have you seen the first Spartacus movie?
No.
Okay, so Spartacus, he's freed the slaves. He was a gladiator, and gladiators were slaves. So he freed all the gladiators, raised an army, and fought back against the Romans, right? And there's the scene in the movie where they capture the army, and they're like, "Reveal to us who Spartacus is, and we will spare the army." So one person steps forward. He says, "I am Spartacus," and then the second person moves forward. Is like, "I am Spartacus," and this like whole army is like, "I am Spartacus," right? So what is
Yeah.
that moment for you? Like, what is the I am Max Blade equivalent of that? Like, why would anybody want to sacrifice? Maybe not their life, but sacrifice for this kind of identity? What does it represent?
Yeah. So, I think what I missed on also with the drawing that we did in
Yeah.
the beginning was, as a part of like the value I provide is inspiring people. Cause I was not doing well when I first put out my thing that I made. Is inspiring people that, like even if things aren't going well, that doesn't mean that they are always going to be like that. And you have gifts and you have things that you can get done. Um, and inspiring like a group of people like that, I think that would be the reason that somebody would come forward and say, I want to sacrifice myself for him because he has created a group of people um that feel like they can do stuff because he did it, you know? And I'm not somebody that came from a coding background. I don't know anyone who's built hardware. I never built hardware before, and I'm out here doing it. And I hope that inspires somebody else to be like, I'm in a bad spot right now, but I think I can try this and I think I could do it.
Uh, I love it. And if you had a logo,
Yes.
right, and it was on a hat, why would anyone want to wear that hat? Like, what does that represent?
I not to be repetitive, but I think for the same reason of feeling like the Max Blade logo represents that we don't have all of the answers. We don't have all of the skills it might take. You know, like I have a $2,500 pick and place machine next to me that I have no idea how to use, you know, and people go to school just to
Mhm.
learn how to use these things. I pull up in the software and I'm completely lost, you know, but, like I want to inspire people to be like, we don't know how to do it, but we go and we do it anyways. You know, like I want to inspire people to be doers and you know, it's like, oh man, I don't
Like
know how to
against
do
the odds,
that.
like what is that in 6 words?
In 6 words is we don't know how, but do anyways.
Yeah, we don't know how, but do anyways, right?
Yes.
But do anyways. What is that
Yep.
in like 4 words?
Um, oh man. Uh no not, but do.
No, not but do. All right. Do you have a one word? Like what is
A
that?
one
Like
word?
yeah,
Um, I guess it has to be try.
try.
Yeah.
Love it. Hell yeah. All right. Same question. Imagine your life at peak impact.
Yes.
Sitting there a little bit. Draw what that feels to you.
Okay. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
This is this is the community
all right.
and they're shouting yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And imagine there's a million people right here. They're
Mm-hmm.
saying yes.
Yeah.
This is my family and me, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a huge smile on my face,
Uh,
and then I have a massive bag of money next to me.
yeah. Let's go.
What do you think?
I love it. Yeah, bro. You should. I like it. Like we're done. This is the